What is up, everyone? We're doing a book review for Matthew McConaughey's book, Greenlights. And if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up on this video because we're going to make more videos like this. And that's how you stay up to date. And I appreciate you doing that. So, what we got here, we got Matthew McConaughey's book that was published in 2020. It's called Greenlights. It is 304 pages. It's $12 for a Kindle and around $19 for a paperback. New York Times bestseller, and it's been in the Amazon charts as a top-selling book for a while. Right now, in this week that I'm doing this podcast, it is number 3 in the Amazon charts. It's actually number 5 last week, so it's climbed up 2. So number 3 in the Amazon charts. So what is this book all about? So this book is about Matthew's life from childhood up until where he is now in his life. And he grew up in a lower middle class family that commonly mispronounced words. Those are his words, not mine. Commonly mispronounced words. And so he didn't grow up with a silver spoon. He grew up almost more poor than anything. And he climbed to the top of one of the best actors, you could say, in the world. So this book talks about how he's done it, how he's overcome the obstacles and turned those obstacles into stepping stones, learnings that made him successful and put him in the position that he's in now. And so the green light metaphor is referring to the success in his life and the learnings that he's obtained from these obstacles. So the obstacles that I'm referring to, he calls red lights and yellow lights. Red lights and yellow lights, things that prevent him from doing something, that is a challenge, an obstacle in his way, preventing him from getting to where he wants to be. And it's not until he looks within or he fails or he pushes through that obstacle until he finds that green light that he finds success, until he learns what he can do better next time. And that's what this book is all about. But he puts the green light metaphor in every chapter, almost every page, honestly, all the way back from when he was a child to where he is now. And that leads from learnings as a kid to learnings in school to learnings the first day he was acting, all the way up until now, learnings to becoming a father. And that is essentially the book. It's a book to learn what he's overcome in his life to become the position he's in. Matthew did not always want to be an actor. At one point, he was dead set on being a lawyer, and it wasn't until I believe college that he made the pivot and decided he wanted to go to acting school. This book it's interesting because Matthew is an interesting individual. This guy, he's in this book, he'll go through all the stories of him being arrested. He lived out in an RV for years, going from RV camp to RV camp. He's traveled to different countries based on a dream of his. He traveled to 2 different countries based on a dream. He had a dream that he was in this Amazon River and he was like covered by snakes and there was tribesmen like on each side of the river, and it was like a vision for him to go see that in real life. So he ended up going to, I believe, South America and Africa to find this river, and it eventually, I don't know if he probably found what he was looking for, but it's an interesting thing to go to those countries based on a dream. He ended up becoming more whole because of it, because he had a great experience. And when he came back to the United States to do his acting career, he was more whole, he had perspective, and it was a good experience for him. But that's a funny thing. Who here goes to 2 different countries based on a dream, try to find a river? So he's an interesting individual. He talks about dealing with becoming extraordinarily famous in a short period of time. taking risks in his career to change his role. He used to do a lot of romantic comedies, and then out of nowhere, he stopped completely. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that role anymore because he felt it wasn't challenging himself. And he's turned down millions of dollars while he was trying to change the perception. You know, when an actor has built their perception in a certain genre, it's very hard to get out of it. Only really good actors can do it. And it took him a little while to break out of that mold. He had a lot of offers in the multi-million dollars coming down for romantic comedies, and he decided he didn't want to do it. And he risked his career because who knows if he would have been successful in his other roles. So he talks about all that stuff. You'll find really interesting stories. One of the funny and interesting stories that I found was when his first time he really stood up for himself as a young adult, standing up, a young adult, let's say maybe 18 years old, no no older than 22. So around 20, 18 years old, he stood up for himself to an adult, to someone who was, had the authority, to an adult. He was in an exchange program, uh, traveling abroad, and it was for the college that he was in, and he went to Australia, lived with this family. This family was absolutely nuts, crazy nuts, and the mother and the father of the Australian family that took him in were weird. They wanted to have him call him mom and dad. Matthew ended up getting so frustrated with his family that he wanted to leave, so he wanted to go to a different family. He talked to the exchange program president, I think is what that's called, at the in Australia. They decided that he was going to move families, and when Matthew was trying to leave the house that night to go to the different family, he was being very, very respectful. This is based on Matthew's account. Um, the father of the Australian family wouldn't let him leave the room and said that he wanted Matthew to stay the rest of the year because it was a year-long exchange program. And Matthew flipped out. He punched a hole in the wall and told this guy if he didn't move, he was going to beat the crap out of him. I don't know the exact terminology, but he essentially said he was going to beat the crap out of him. And that was the first time Matthew has dealt with uh, a person of authority. It was one of those moments as a young adult where you gotta take a stand for your beliefs, take a stand for what you believe in, and there's a lot of interesting stories like that. For me, it was an entertaining story, but it also goes to show you that as young adults, you got to start, standing up for your beliefs as well. Um, he Matthew is someone, as I can tell from this book, he believes in destiny, he believes in a plan, he trusts his instincts almost too much because he's going to freaking different parts of the world based on his dream, trying to find a river with snakes on him and tribesmen on each side of the river, trying to find that exact dream. But it all works out for him. His whole way of thinking leads him to having a beautiful family with a beautiful wife and an amazingly successful acting career. So he's doing something right. Doing doing something better than me at least. Um, what you'll get from this book, for me, this was a to me, this was something that was probably 70 to 80% more entertaining and more understanding Matthew's life. And I know that in the book, Matthew tries to weave in a lot of learnings he's had from his life, and I think that's good. It's different from other self-development types of books that I like to read, where everything is really focused in on learning practical stuff. I think a lot of the lessons that he's learned, a lot of the lessons that he's learned has been weaved into this book. But for me, it was more of maybe 70 to 80% entertaining and just understanding Matthew's life from childhood to becoming an A-list actor. And 20 to 30% is learning the micro moments in his life that has led him into the position he's in now. Um, and some of you who are going through the same struggles might relate to that. Might relate to those stepping stones that he's at, because I think it's a good. You take a step back. I talk about this a lot. It's a good thing to look at someone who's very high up in their career, A-list actor. You might say, how am I ever going to get there? And you take a step back, you look at someone's life, and you realize they didn't have everything always figured out. They've had to deal with challenges along the way. Sometimes being an A-list actor there might be a lot of luck contributed to that, but it's also no one has their stuff figured out. They set goals, they work through the day-to-day minutia, they fight through the challenges. They don't get upset when success doesn't come at the first strike of the ball, and they keep at it. And that's what this book is all about. So it is entertaining. Hopefully, it motivates you to stay focused on what you want to do, and just take this as a learning and say, who knows, I may not be an A-list actor. Who the hell knows where you're going to be in this world? But set goals, work your butt off, and continually try to improve yourself. You may not be in the exact position that you set for yourself 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, but life is like multiple forks in the road. As long as you're moving forward and you have your mind set on a goal, you're going to continue moving forward and working through these challenges just like Matthew did. And I hope this book gives you that takeaway that you will get somewhere that you want to be, just like Matthew talks about in his understanding of life, that life is, you have a destiny in this world, and keep moving forward, and you will make very good progress. So that is the book review. And if you like what you hear, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell me. I like to hear positive and constructive feedback so we can make this channel better for everybody else. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.